Okay, welcome to Agent Training Webinar 3 of 8. This one is all about the website and creating a private booking area. Now, the private booking area that we're going to go through, a lot of this is going to be actually online. So we're going to actually create a PBA right in front of you, so you can watch and see exactly how it's done. And at this point, I hope you're kind of finding that all the pieces of the puzzle are starting to fit together. So, and you can see the effort of your hard work is starting to come out. So let's move forward. Okay, once again, the disclaimer that we go through every week, that the methods taught here have been learned over many years dealing with clients, customers, hotels, and agents that have been proven to work, not on their own. And I'm going to keep reminding you of this. They require a good combination of communication skills, self-motivation, agility, activity, diligence, perseverance, industry knowledge, research, and belief. Keep reiterating this. It's your activity. The more active you are, the more connected you are, the more you're out there, the more good things are going to happen. Okay, at this point, I just want to remind you also of the ecosystem. So, events, guests, hotels, agents, always keep these in the forefront of your mind, because you need to be thinking what the events need and what they're thinking, what the guests need and what they're thinking, what the hotels need and what they're thinking. It's all part of this ecosystem, which allows us to kind of grow and shape and help these events as well. The flow, I just want to remind you of very quickly. Selected the events, we've done that in lesson number 1. Selected the hotels and found the hotels. And if you remember, we've actually selected those hotels also on the basis that we understand the market. So if we're dealing with a martial arts event, or we're dealing with a conference, it's a different market, different type of hotels, potentially different features and facilities that help you create that. So at this point, we're going to pretty much assume you have the event and assume you've selected some hotels and it's ready to create the PBA time. After that, then we link the event, and then we do some promotion, and then we analyze, and then we manage the bookings, and then we repeat, and go over that again and again. Okay, it's now time to put it together on the PBA. So as a checklist, by now you should have the event, you are contracted as an exclusive agent to that event, and you have a selection of hotels, you have rates, rooms, and added extras, you've contacted hotels, you've sent an RFP out, hotels have come back, they've given you the contracts, you've selected the number of hotels that you actually want to work with, you have a piece of paper. You have a piece of paper from the event saying you're the exclusive agent, you've got a piece of paper or a piece of email from the hotel saying that they're going to give you these rates, they're going to give you an allocation of rooms, any unsold rooms they're going to take back 30 days out, blah, 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 extras, all that sort of stuff that gets sort of squished into it. That's what we're dealing with. Now, let's create the PBA. The next webinar is actually on the marketing, where you get to link this, and that's where the bookings start, or at least the analytics start and the bookings start at that point. So hopefully you can see it all start to come together at this point. Now, as an event, we're going to pick one to go out. This is a live event. This is one that we actually do have in Australia. We've got recently contracted the ISKA, which is the International Sport Karate Association. They've got 23 events around the country. They actually had an event here on the Gold Coast yesterday, and I had the privilege of actually meeting the guy. I'd even contracted him without meeting him. It wasn't required. He's really keen. He thought about providing accommodation in the past, but doesn't have the time. And I went to see the event yesterday. And I tell you, I understand why he doesn't have the time. The guy was buzzing around the room, fixing people's computers that was scoring one competitor against another one. So if you think about what these organizers do, it was a really interesting reminder of why we exist. And it was just kind of like a weight off his shoulders that someone else could come in and handle this. because he had so much to do. He didn't hardly have any time even to talk to me. Um, but it was enough to be able to get the message across that we're here to help, and we're going to follow them around. They have an event coming up in 2 weeks, so some of these are happening every 2 and every 4 weeks. We're a little bit late getting to these, but we need to put a PBA together because they've got an event coming up in Canberra in 2 weeks, which is a fairly big event. And so what we're going to do is actually create this PBA pretty much now, and it'll give you a really good idea of how we bring it all together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, and I hope that you follow me through on this link as I go into desktop sharing. So if you can stick a comment in the box, and we'll drop this down, and hopefully what you can now see, you may not see me anymore, I don't know, but what you will see is the Hotels TV admin screen. And you'll actually see a little sharing box, and I'll get rid of that. I'll move that out of the way. Okay, so on the screen, let me just go back in here. Okay, so on this screen, this is your login area. So I'm not going to go back over how to do all this because that was in your introduction. I'm sure you've been playing around with the system. So I'm really just going to move into this, and you can read this video when you get it over and over again. Ask some questions, put them in the chat box, and I'll get them towards the end of the presentation. But I want to go through this in kind of a one motion. So we've got the event website. So your point of reference is the event website. So you can see it here. It's the iska.com.au. They've got this event coming up called the Battle of Canberra. It's on the 28th of April. He's doing a bit of a promotion, giving people 50% off. They're coming into the tournament. They want to compete. They're going to win a trophy. It's all good stuff. Okay. So we've got this, and essentially this is a karate association. Their imagery and their artwork's not particularly impressive. We've got to work with that. Okay, so some events we work on, they're going to have amazing images and art that we can use and logos. Other ones, they're just going to have whatever we get. It doesn't make them any less effective, and quite often these can even produce more bookings than a professional trade show, but they're all relevant. So you just got to work with whatever you've got. Instantly, I'm looking at the image because, you know, if you've ever seen one of our PBAs, okay, and let's look as an example. Okay, we'll use another karate event, and we've just got to run on karate events at the moment. It's not anything particular. There's no reason for that, but actually once you're in the zone and you get momentum, sometimes these things happen, and we'll go through that with some sales training in other chapters. But so this is it. So this is Quan Grand Slam. Here's the header. This is what the page should look like. There's a little bit of a intro. Hey, exclusive deals for this, book online instant, save up to 40%. And on the right-hand side, we've been able to put together a few linked specials that reflect down here. We've got the hotel map. We've got a link here of the venue as well. We can actually see where the venue is and which hotels are close, so people can search this way. You know, if they want to stay at that hotel, they then click through. There's a good rate, great saving. The hotel that's written here, it's the description is relevant around the event. So rather than just writing about this hotel and going Holiday Inn, it's a nice 3-4-star hotel, whatever it is. It's got a swimming pool and it's got a mini bar in the room. What we're saying is attending or competing at Quan Grand Slam or British Open, the Holiday Inn is right next to the venue. So we're making it relevant. So essentially the whole thing becomes relevant. It's ready to be linked to the event organizer's website. And if you've seen any of this before, you'll actually see that if you go on to the event's actual website itself, and Hopefully your screen's catching up, but we're a little bit slow working through on this. Hopefully it doesn't hold us up with our internet connections too much. I'll let that load. Okay, so that's effectively what we want the page to look like. Okay, now what we do is we gather our information from the main website. This main website is going to give us as much as we can get. Sometimes we have to email the event organizer. Well, that's not a good start. Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, so what we want to do is start to create our PBA. So we go into our administration area and we log in. Okay, now this has got a few more items on it than yours has when you go and log into yours, but the main one we're going to deal with at the moment is site, is destinations. Okay, the rest to cover bookings and tools cover how-to guides. So under destinations, we're going to click in to the destination screen. Okay, and you will have provided to you, okay, things like this that are called PBAs. PBA 01, PBA 02, PBA 03. So a PBA is a private booking area, essentially. Now the PBA is in your box to be changed. Okay, so it's there to be changed. It's there to be amended. Sorry, I just keep checking back because I want to see if there's any comments there that I need to address. Make sure you're all still there. I'm not talking to myself. Okay, so the PBA is there, ready to be cultivated, let's say, or created. So there's absolutely nothing on this PBA, okay? And if we can compare it, okay, to the other PBA that we just looked at, okay, and I'll go into that quickly, okay, such as the Quan Martial Arts event. If we actually, okay, Quan British Open Champ, Quan Grand Slam is the one we looked at. That's this event right here. That's actually what the screen will end up looking like. The title and destination, this is where all the interesting information goes about the event. The hotels will be listed under here. The sections such as registration information and all the things that you're going to find here, for example, and in the articles and guides section here. And this all makes up this page, okay? And you can go on and find this anyway within the actual agents area on the website, so you can familiarize yourself and slow this presentation down a little bit by pausing it when you actually get the video. But for now, what we're going to do is just move through. So that's what it's going to look like. The links there at the bottom represent the links here on this side, okay? At the moment, it looks like that. So let's go and create one, all right? So you edit the destination, which is your first move. You don't add hotels because we haven't actually set it up yet. So this is called, and I'm going to keep referring back to this, Battle of Canberra. And at the moment, it's called PBA. So let's change that to Battle of Canberra. And those who don't know, Canberra is the capital of Australia. Sits in the ACT, Australian Capital Territory, which is within New South Wales, 4 or 5 hours from Sydney, but it's there. Okay, that's the name of the event. The URL is not the hotel or the event's actual own website. It's the URL you're going to create. You want to name this page as easily as possible so people can find it. hotels.tv/Battle of Canberra. So let's put that in, Battle of Canberra, without spaces. You don't need spaces. So Battle of Canberra, that's it. Password, you don't want to password protect it because you want people to be able to find it. But if you did want to set up a PBA that was only accessible by password, you can do that and you would put a password in there. It must be listed as a corporate extranet to look like this, okay? the corporate extranet. Otherwise, you can actually create a destination and put it into another country, but that's a whole different setup. This is when you're doing your public booking website, like you want to create something for Melbourne or London, or you can actually put it on the website under a category. But for PBAs, it goes under corporate extranet every time. If you've got a group booking reference, so when the bookings come in, you could say ISCA Battle of Canberra, and that's going to show up on every confirmation that's emailed to a hotel. So everyone can be grouped under this group, this event. Even though they're booking individually, they can all be go into there. Now, default start date. If you look on these pages, you'll see we have a default start date of the 14th of June. This is so that when people come onto the website, they're not messing about starting off at 010101. You know, they can go onto the calendar and they're pretty much on the date that the event's going to be held. So we know the event's going to be held here on the 28th of April. When are people most likely to stay? Probably 27th of April. So we're going to go 27th of April 2019, and that's going to default that area here, the checkbox to that. Okay, default number of night stays. You just put one night at a time, otherwise it won't let people book one night. If you put 3 or 4 nights, it will make people book 3 or 4 nights. Sometimes in some hotels or some areas, there might be a minimum 2-night stay, and that's what that allows you to do. Now the venue title, okay, and I know from looking at this, it's at the Australian Institute of Sport Combat Centre. Okay, so we're going to add this. Australian Institute of Sport. It's also known as the AIS, and I'll just put Canberra. Turn into a brief venue info. You could write a brief description about this. I'm not going to at the moment. Okay, now we're going to put a description in. This is the description that sits here. So pretty much, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy that bit, and I'm just going to dump it into there. Okay, and then I'm going to write something like ISCA Battle of. Always try and be consistent with your writing as well. So I've actually put Battle of Canberra with a capital or an uppercase O. So if you're going to do that all the way through, then make sure you do it all the way through. Don't do it in one area and don't do it in another. Spelling is really important. Grammar, punctuation, it's really important to people. It can put some people off, you know. So Battle of Canberra, AIS, Canberra, not Canberra. I'll get it eventually. You can tell this is live. Okay. 28 April 2019. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Let's be a bit realistic about it all. Okay. It's maybe 12 point. Okay, that'll be fine. And then what we'll do is deals, exclusive hotel deals. We would actually then put the contact of the agent down here. Okay. Book. Whoop. My computer's lagging a little bit, but book online below or inquire here. Okay, and this is by our agent in Australia, or one of our agents in Australia. mark@hotels.tv, and then we would add Mark's phone number down there. Okay, so that's enough of a description for now, so it comes out at the top there. Okay, next, what we're going to do is we're going to upload an image because we want something nice in this space. Now, to save time, I've already gone and found the image. I've got the image from here. I've actually put it on a black background so that it actually matches our artwork at the top. So I put on a black background, and I've done a bit of a screenshot, and I've saved it as a file. We can go through this in our one-to-one lessons, but so you choose the file, and I'm going to go into the area that I've actually set this up in. So I use the Dropbox. That you've got the Dropbox to hold all your files. What I do is actually put in events, and then I put in the name of the event, and I put hotels, images, and agreements. And the hotel or the event agreement I put inside event agreement. There it is. The images for the hotels or the images for the event I put inside images. And the hotels individually, I find that I want to work with in those particular areas, I create folders for, and inside those folders, I put images of the room types that I'm interested in booking at those hotels. Hopefully that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do though is create a header. Now I've already named these. It took me about 20 minutes to do, probably even less. If you've got the images, it's pretty quick. You just copy the image straight into a folder. Okay, but I've already done it, so I'm gonna in, and there it is. It's sucked it in already into that book. Except I've just not. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, new browsing image we don't need to use. Okay, so don't worry about that. The map. Okay, what we want to do is actually create the marker. If you have a look at the map here, for the venue. So the hotels will actually find their way around the event. So that will come up in red. But the first step we want to do is find out where the venue is. And we want to put in the coordinates. So how do we get the coordinates? Well, look, it's really easy. These guys have made it even easier. They use Google Maps. If you just go into Google Maps and you actually type in the name of the venue, everyone's seen this, right? It comes up with this. You can even find the coordinates very easily here. But if you look really closely in the google.com URL, you'll actually find the coordinates right here. So it might be a bit small on your screen. So you get it when you look at it. Okay. So -35, that's the longitude. And the latitude is the other one, and that's right here as well. So that's how you find any coordinates you want. So what you do is you just grab that, copy, learn the shortcuts on your keyboard. It makes it a lot quicker as well. You know, I know some people in our network are really good with their computer. Some people in our network are not so good. So that's okay, but get good. You know, learn shortcuts. You can just Google shortcuts, and you can watch YouTube videos to actually find shortcuts, and it will just speed up what you're doing. That's it. That's the coordinates. The Australian dollar, well, it's in Australia, so that's what it is. Exclude tags, meta keywords, keyword descriptions, forget all that. You don't need that. We will remove that shortly. If you've got a Google Analytics account, which we'll talk about later in analytics, you actually just paste the code that Google gives you straight in there, and it starts to track everything for you. What you see here is you're CC'd. Anyone in that box separated by a comma is actually CC'd in. So when the booking's done, you get a notification. So that's what that means. If you want to link your page or your event into Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and whatever, you can do that here. The next step, in order to see it, you have to make it active. Okay, active and public. If you just tick those boxes to make it active and public, and then go down here to the right and click Save. We've done the first part of creating a PBA. It's taken a few minutes. You get faster and faster at that. And basically, as you can see now, it's the Battle of Canberra. It looks a little bit similar to Quad. So it's like building blocks. Okay, we've got the first block done now, which is creating the event. The second block is going to be adding the hotels. The third block is adding the other information. So if we look at a ready-made page, we're talking header, we're talking information, that's what we've done, and we've set up the green marker to establish the event. Next, we're going to go and add the hotels, and that's going to create the markers on there. We're going to add the rates and availability. And then third, what we're going to do is add the information, the features, the promotion, the articles and guides. You could put information of how to get there, information of airport transfers and tours in the local area, all these sorts of things, depending on what you want to do. And that's how it ends up looking. And they're pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, add hotel, add event, add section. These are all, add event actually means adding an event to a calendar. It doesn't mean adding the original event. So some of our terminology doubles up a little bit. So adding an event would be in articles and guides as an event, a bit like a calendar event that you want to promote, which can be really handy depending on the events that you're dealing with. You might create a page for an area or a region and want to put a list of events that are happening in that region. You know, so the platform's pretty flexible. Okay, but that's where we are at the moment. So the next stage, how do we see what we're doing? In any of my training, I always tell you, have a picture, have the area open so that you can actually see it. It's really important you can see it. So it helps you create the page more effectively, and you can see any errors. So when we went into this page, if you remember, we named it URL/Battle of Canberra. I'm not going to go in there again. You can replay that. www.hotels.tv/Battle of Canberra. And remember, we didn't put any spaces or anything. You could put hyphens or you can put underscores in the names if you've done that in the edit section. Otherwise, just repeat whatever you gave it under the URL tab and click enter. And what we should see is a ready-made page. Hey presto, there it is. Battle of Canberra, your agent is Mark Zimmerman. There's the image that we chose to put on the black background. And I'll actually show you how I made that. If you can see, I just simply opened a Word document. I added a design, which was a box that I made black. I put the image in the middle. And what I did was I used my function, which is a print screen, and it allows me to actually do this to the page. I do something like that. It saves it as an image automatically. This is the beauty of using a Mac. It's so intuitive. And then I upload the image. So we can show you how to do that later, but that's kind of how I did it. So we've got the image, we've got the information up here, but as you can see, it still is a little bit lacking compared to this page, but it's starting to come together. And what I like to do is group everything together at the top. So they're side by side, and I can really see how I'm creating it. Okay, now what we're going to do is create a hotel. All right, I don't think there's anything on the map yet except the venue. You see where the green marker has actually come in. So the green marker is there to give a bit of perspective about where the Australian Institute of Sport is in Canberra. We can see right there. And the description that we wrote before, and if we wrote a longer description, it would actually come up under this area, Australian Institute of Sport. Done. Easy as that. Okay, now let's add some hotels. And what I've done, I've gone and picked a couple of hotels that are in the area. And the way I've done that is effectively I've gone onto the map, I've gone into Google, and I've put hotels near AIS Canberra, because I know Google will know what the Australian Institute of Sport is. And we go into maps. And if we go and have a look in maps, it's going to actually give you everything that's in the area. You can even find out what's available by date, but that's, to be honest, it may be a little bit relevant to us because, you know, it can give us a hint on what's perhaps going to be available. So that's it. The marker, the blue marker on Google Maps is the Australian Institute of Sport. So we can drill down. And what you want to do is have a look at the hotels that are within a reasonable distance. So what I've done is I've chosen a couple of hotels that I'm kind of aware of that are in the area. And also I spoke to the organizer, and the organizer let me know that one of their most popular hotels is the Mercure Hotel, which I know is an Accor hotel. So if they think it's popular and people stay there, guess what? I'm going to offer it because people will recognize the hotel and want to go and book it on the platform. So it always pays to talk to your event organizer and ask them the right questions. Hey, where did you stay last time? Where do people stay that you know of? Even call some of the teams and some of the different, and just ask them, you know, where are your people staying? Where did they stay before? Don't book anything because I'm going to organize some great rates for you. And they're so appreciative that you're going to get them a good rate. They'll actually hang on for you. So I've picked two hotels. I've picked a budget hotel and I've picked a slightly nicer hotel. The Mercure is the slightly nicer hotel, and the budget is, I think here, which is the Ibis budget. So I wanted to have a cheapie. And to be honest, that's not that much cheaper, but it's a bit cheaper. And you could look around and you could find 4 or 5 options, a couple of budget, couple of mid-range, couple of luxury ones. But once again, know your market. When you're finding your hotels and searching your hotels, as we discussed, actually talk to your market, understand what the demographic is. All right, not going to go over that anymore. Okay, so I've gone straight to their website and I found that through Google. So this is the actual website of the Ibis, and this is the actual website of Mercure Canberra. Straight away, I can right-click their main images and I can save the image as, right? Save the image as, and I can go straight in to my folder that I've already saved, and I can put hotel image. Bang, it's saved. It's already in my folder, ready to upload to the site. I scroll down the page, it's given me all the different types of rooms that they have. So which hotels are going to be popular? Well, a standard queen's going to be popular. The twin rooms are going to be popular because they're kind of family rooms. There's 2 single beds and an extra single bed up here, like a bunk. So 3 people can stay in that room, or you can have a couple and a kid, or there might be adjoining rooms and things. There's a queen bedded room. So you can have a look through, and you can right click each one of these images and save the image as, and it opens the folder. If you've installed Dropbox onto your computer, it will open the folder in Dropbox. So it makes it really convenient. So these are shortcuts that mean that when you set up an event, it's bang, 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 bang. It's not taking hours and half a day to set up a PBA. It's that. Now what I've done is I've stuck it into a folder, and I'm going back now to my edit destination area, and I'm going to add the hotel. So here we are. So the destination, forget about the destination because it's already going to be in Battle of Canberra. Okay, and if I just do a search for that, if I go Battle, there you go. You can see it's already ticked my PBA. The reason we have this, if you've got 4 or 5 different events and they're using the same hotel and the same rates, you can actually choose to tick the boxes for every private booking area that you want to add this hotel to. So you can duplicate the hotel instantly, but you cannot provide different rates for different events. If you do this, it will be the one set of rates that you're going to do for everyone. So just be aware of that. But if all your events are at all different times, you could actually add different rates and use the same profile. I hope that's easy to understand. The problem is you can only personalize the hotel description around the event one way. And that's what we really want you to do. So the ideal scenario is that you have a hotel for each event, because then you can personalize it. You can be a little bit lazy and not personalize it, but then you don't have the same impact that you would if people are reading a hotel description, like we did before, of the whole Holiday Inn Wolverhampton, and the description talks about the Quan event or the karate tournament. If you just blanket it for everyone, it's going to have to be quite generic. That's all. So it's already ticked. So we go down here and we're going to put in the Mercure Hotel Canberra. Okay, I'm not going to fill every single thing out because I'm just going to give you a bit of an idea. We'll go through and put this in more detail later. That's the name of the hotel. The URL, once again, this is not the URL of the web address of the hotel. This is what you're going to make. So it becomes hotels.tv/hotels/Mercure Hotel. So let's put it in Mercure Hotel Canberra. Once again, you can separate this with underscores or hyphens, but do not just put spaces or it will not work properly. Okay, we're gonna categorize this now as a mid-range, maybe a corporate hotel. If you hold your command key down, you can actually pick more than one. And maybe it's a bit of a family hotel as well. Short description, currency. Okay, we're going to put it in Australian dollars. Main text. Okay, we'll go back and edit some of the text, but you can take it from their page and then personalize it. So I'm going to take the first paragraph and copy that, and for speed's sake, I'm just going to add it in this. And I'm just going to add to the top, attending the ISKA Battle of, remember, Conventions, Canberra. Okay, attending the battle. So that personalizes it. We could do more, but that's all I'm going to do for now. Now, you would have also received your terms back from the hotel. What have you got? A 24-hour cancellation policy, a 72-hour cancellation policy. What to do is put it into the short terms and the terms. This comes out on the website, so it actually comes out on the page. All right, it comes out here under terms. All right, on your rates when they come out. It also comes out on the confirmation email that's sent to the guest. So let's put in 72-hour cancellation policy, and you could put, breakfast included for all ISKA attendees. Okay, that's in the terms. Now, that's only if breakfast is going to be included for everything. If breakfast isn't, and some rooms will include breakfast and some won't, then what you need to do is take that out and just have the cancellation policy. And any other terms, advance purchase, you could put pay at hotel, not when you book. But once again, you might get rooms that are pay in advance and you get a cheaper rate. So once again, don't be too strict with what you put down here. You can actually, when you enter a different room type, add it so it actually personalizes it around that. Okay, so that's all we need for terms. Forget the video for now. We'll talk about that later. Forget the new main image. We've got a different image area that we'll use. You go down to stars and star rating. Okay, we know this is a 4-star hotel. The reception hours are 24 hours. Any other information you think is important, like Wi-Fi, free of charge, anything down here, tick the boxes. Some of this is pretty obvious stuff, but maybe the fitness room, deluxe rooms, superior rooms, en-suite, tea and coffee. So you don't have to tick all of them, but tick some of the main points that you think are going to be really useful to them. Fridge in the room or whatever it is. The HTV rating coming soon. You don't have to do that. We're going to bring that in later on, that you can actually give the hotel a rating for yourself, from yourself, your own personal opinion as the hotel expert. Okay, the location of the hotel. Well, we do this again. So we want to know Mercure Canberra's location. Okay, so that's told us where it is. And once again, we can actually go up to the top here, and we can copy the longitude, copy that, stick that straight in. Don't put the comma in. Lost the page. And then put the latitude in. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to get the hang of it. And hopefully you're starting to see that that's how the little red markers are going to come out on our page. You know, like this one. Okay, those red markers that you see there are going to come out because of what we've just done. Okay, now remember I said this is a very flexible booking platform. So when you do one for yourself, run through this video as well. Public phone, do not put it. The reason is, okay, the public phone number will actually display on the website and people will call the hotel. It'll come up here, okay? It's there for your flexibility in case you wanted to work this platform slightly differently, okay? The same with showing public details. Do not show them. Do not show the web address for the hotel, okay? Late rooms ID, you don't need. Expedia ID, you don't need. SiteMinder, you don't need for this. That's only if you're using a channel manager to bring your rates in. You're not with this. Cloud is also another channel manager. You don't need that. Message of the day, you don't need that. So leave all that section. You go down to reservations. You type in here who you're dealing with at the hotel. So if we're dealing with John Smith at the hotel, the phone number, blah, blah. This is really for your own record keeping. Forget fax, no one has a fax anymore. John's details. Now this is really interesting. Hotel email address. This will be the address where the booking will be emailed to. All right. Now, when you first set this up, if you don't have an address, this page will not save unless you have an address there, because we didn't want emails not going to the hotel. But you can just put a cross in there for now, just to get the page saved before you enter. But then when you start doing bookings, you need to enter the reservations department or John Smith. If he is the contact that's going to be getting the emails, you need to now enter it in there. Or if you just want to test the system, you could put your own email address in. So you're going to receive the emails as if the hotel is receiving the booking. So this is a really good way for you to see what happens. All right, percentage. We've agreed 10% commission. Forget the tax. You don't have to worry about that at this point. Payment type. Okay, this is what's displayed on the hotel page when you actually go to do the booking. It will actually say, pay at the hotel, not when you book, or if you select pay for your room now, it will say pay for your room now. So it warns the customer whether it's prepaid or postpaid from that perspective. Most of the time, just put it on default. Default is pay at the hotel, not when you book, because that's ideally the perfect scenario for everyone. But in some cases with some hotels, they might just work with you on a prepaid basis and that's it. We do not take the money. They will take the money, but they will take the charge at the time the booking is made, whereas the other system works where the credit card is just used as a guarantee of arrival and only would be charged if they didn't turn up for the booking, and that would be a one-night penalty. Depending on the terms, it could be a full stay penalty, but it depends on the terms that you have. All right. If the hotel has a separate invoicing or accounts department, you can actually put it in there. And when we do the invoicing, we know this is going to go directly to the right person and it's not going to bounce around the hotel and lengthen the time it takes for you to get paid. So you can put accounts at the hotel name into that slot there, whatever that is. If there's a particular account number that we allocate, we'll put it in there to do with our own invoicing system. And if another address and another name, so some hotels are, their invoicing doesn't happen under their hotel name. They might be owned by a massive company. And so they might want to be invoiced to that company. So these are the details that will go at the top. So the more you can complete of the invoicing things, not straight away, you can do this later, the better, because it just saves us time having to come back and ask you when we come around to invoice. Agent. This agent section at the bottom allows you, and this is a different chapter, but it will allow you to allocate a login and a password to a hotel or to a third party to manage the hotel's information. So the hotel could actually log into this area and actually add all this information themselves. You could do that. Most of the time we do it because it's far easier and quicker than waiting for the hotel to do it. But it is possible, especially if you start working on a campaign or a project that has multiple hotels, perhaps under the one brand, managed by the same person. You can do all these sorts of things with this system, but I'm not going to bombard you with that now. Lastly, I bet you know what you do next. You activate the hotel. Really important. And then you save it. You click continue. And now our building blocks are starting to take shape. You can actually see that we have the start of a hotel. So this will be inside this area. Quan Grand Slam, or we're doing the ISKA event, and then a hotel profile would have just emerged here. Okay, and if we click into this as a preview, we've just established the event it's under, the type of hotel. We haven't added rooms, so if you have a look here, we've got the Mercure Hotel, but we haven't added the rooms and we haven't added any images to that hotel yet. Whereas on the Parkview Hotel, they've got rooms and rates, and they've got images at the bottom. So that's the next stage of what we do. So hopefully you're following this. It's not too confusing. It'll all fit together in a minute, especially when you start using it, you'll get it. So let's add the images first. And remember, I'd already saved those into a folder, so it's pretty easy to find. So I go in and I choose the first one from the ISKA event. I go into hotels, I go into Mercure, and I pick whichever image that I want to use first. So the first one I'm actually going to use, you could use an outside image, but I think with a lot of hotels, they look a bit drab. I like to use a bedroom image sometimes, because remember, you're now looking to really tantalize and tempt the people that are coming in. So I'm going to put something bright that looks very clear and crisp. So let's put in, and look, you can have a look at your photos within your area. Might be a bit small for you to see, but there's a couple of nice photos that I can use. There's a nice twin room, there's a nice superior king, and there's a queen. I'm going to use the queen because that's generally what people are going to get. So I like to use general, and I'm even going to type it here and queen room. Okay, and I'm going to make this number 1, photo number, and I'm going to save it. Okay, we've got photo number 1. Now I'm going to add another image, photo number 2. I'm going to put sort number 2. I'm going to go into our folder, and now I'm going to do a twin room. Okay, because that's the next category I think people are going to want. There's a twin room. Let's save that. Okay, now we've got the twin room. So let's add another image number 3. I'm going to now add, which one do I want? There's a loft family suite. I think that would be popular for this event. So I'm going to actually put the deluxe loft family room for 5, I'm going to call it. So that's not actually the name, but I've decided what I'm going to do is make it as easy as possible for people to be able to understand what they're looking at. That's our job. Our job is to censor or desensitize or categorize or sort the rubbish out to make it far clearer for these people. Okay, so there's a few different hotel room choices that we actually have there. Great. Okay. Now we've been given the rates, so let's assume we've got that contract from the hotel, and in our Dropbox, we'll have the rate sheet. So we know the rate sheet is there, and it's going to say what the room types are. We can now add the room. Okay. You don't use pending, you just title it. So I know there is a queen double room, and sometimes it includes breakfast. So let's just assume it does, including continental breakfast. Okay. You can actually add the image there as well. So you can go and grab your image, upload it. Okay, I'm not going to do it now because there's another area, but you can go and upload it, and when people look at the room, they'll see an image. Okay, sleeps 1, ensuite 1, it's got a shower, it's got a bath. Now the rack rate, it's sort number 1 because that's the number I want it to be. Sorry, it sleeps 2 people. That's important. Sort number 1 is the order it comes up in. The rack rate is the maximum rate that shows the discount. So if you look here, I'm going to blow this up a bit. The full rate is here, but our rate is here. It shows you save 47. So this rack rate is not bookable, but it shows the benefit of the discount we're giving them. So if you put in a really strong but realistic rack rate, or you get the rack rate from the hotel, so that would be the highest possible rate they would ever charge for that room, and probably never actually charge that. They're always charging discounts. You'd put it in there. So let's say that room is normally $200 a night. Okay, and we're now going to save that. Don't worry about toggle translations either. That's for different languages. We'll cover that another time. So now you can see we're starting to build. We've got the images. So let's go back to that other hotel, Parkview. We've got the images. We've got all the different rooms. We've got all the different images there. Fantastic. Looks really good. We'll go and see this live in a minute as well. Okay, so as you can see here, it's starting to build. Let's add another room type. So let's add the twin room. Twin room, including continental breakfast. Okay, it sleeps 2 people as well. We could add an image. It's got a shower. You could even write notes. This has 2 single beds in the room, TV, and minibar. So you can actually add images or information into there, which makes it even easier and better for people to choose. Sort number 2, because we're going to make that second on the list. The rack rate for that will be also $200 because it still sleeps 2 people. Sometimes twin rooms are actually more expensive than double or twin rooms. Now we've got 2 rooms there. Excuse me. So the third room is the deluxe family loft suite. So this will be a bit more expensive. So let's add the deluxe loft family 5 room, including continental breakfast. Okay, it sleeps 5, we know that. Ensuite, it's got a bath. We might write why it sleeps or how it sleeps 5. So it's got 1 times queen size bed, 2 times single beds, 1 times single sofa bed. Okay, so it makes it easier for people to see. Sort, that's our number 3. That rack rate is $300 a night because it's a much bigger room. Okay, so now you can see we've got the images, we've got the room type. So how do we add rates? So we go into the calendar function at the top, and we have got rates from the hotel. And we could do this two ways. If we go back, we could actually update rates and availability, or we could use the calendar. For short, sharp changes, the calendar is very effective. For more involved rates, just use the other rate function. But this only appears once you add a room. You won't see this, and you won't see this link, the calendar, all that, until you've added a room. Then this appears at the top. Otherwise, it's not relevant. Okay, so update rates and availability. You do one room at a time. So minimum one night stay, we're going to click the box to update that rate, and we're going to update that rate at $165. The availability, the hotel has told us we can have 10 rooms a night or 5 rooms each night. That's an allocation of rooms, and your agreement will say when those rooms stop, or you have to give them back if they're not sold. Our system will sell these until it reaches 5 rooms a night or 20 rooms or 50 rooms, whatever you put in there. Okay, the calendar, we've got these rates. So that the event is the 28th of April. We're going to get rates from the 26th of April up till the 30th of April, just to make sure we've got rates either side that are covered. But it's likely, you know, they won't stay past the 29th. Okay, so we tick all the days. We could allocate weekends or weekdays. It doesn't matter. We're going to save that. Okay, and then we're going to update the rest of the rates. So now we go back to the same screen. We select the twin room and the same thing. So we're going to put that at 165. We're going to update the availability to 5 rooms. And we're going to pick the date, which is going to be the 27th to the 30th of April. And we're going to save that. So you can see it's really quick once you get the hang of it. Deluxe Loft Suite. We're going to put a rate in there. Let's say we were given the rate of $220. We're going to allocate 5 of those, and once again we're going to put the same dates in there, 27th to the 30th, and we're going to save that. Okay, so now let's go back to the hotel. So we've got the hotel, we've got the rooms, we've got the images, and now if you look in the calendar, we have actually got rates. So you can see on the calendar for April, we've got a rate of 165 and 5 rooms. And if we swap that to the twin room and view that, we can see we've got the same. If we swap that now to the deluxe loft and view that, we can see that we've got 220. And this is how the system reads the availability and issues the instant confirmations. It's by reading the information that we just actually put in there, which was gathered and given to us from entering the rooms, entering the rates, and entering all that information back here. Okay, so that's how we've entered a hotel. Now, if you then click now on the Battle of Canberra link at the top of that hotel, it will take you back to this page, which was the destination page that we originally set the Battle of Canberra up on. And now you can see we've got a hotel attached to the bottom. So once again, if we did that on the Parkview Hotel that we compared it to, for the Quan event, we can see we've got a hotel. We've got loads of hotels there and everything else. So on the page that we're working from, it's now starting to build. Let's have a look at our page. Okay, so remember, okay, all we had was that. The Institute of Sport was marked. We had no hotels and no further information. If we refresh that page, now we can see that we have a hotel. We've got the Mercure Hotel Canberra, and we can view the rooms. Okay, and we can now see where it's located in respect of the Australian Institute of Sport. So we can click here and get some information about that venue. And we can click here, and we can either link directly through to the hotel by clicking there, or we can click here on the hotel. So we go into the hotel page. Remember, we wrote a little bit of description, attending ISKA Battle of Canberra, and we've got the information there, the agent responsible for it. We've got some different images, nice, big, clear, crisp images, which is fantastic. That's what we want. Okay. And features, we ticked a few boxes for the features. We've got the cancellation policy, the reception hours, whether we pay at the hotel or not. We've got the map, and we can book. Down the bottom, we can book. And now we see that our queen double room, and I'm going to blow this up here for you. The queen double room here, sleeps 2. We've got the full rate there, which was the rate. And we know now at 165, which is what the rate was discounted to, it now says that Hotels TV rate will save you 18%. So these things are there to tempt people in, to show the discount and show them that they're getting a really good deal by being part of this event. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the twin room. And if you scroll down again, you'll see the deluxe. Okay, and that shows 27% discount with Hotels TV. And look in the notes. It shows the notes of the room and the terms all on this page, and that carries its way through into the confirmations. So then when people want to book it, they simply select the room they want, and they go through the booking channel, enter their details, enter their credit card, and that's it. And here's all the signage that you pay at the hotel, not at the time of booking. Your credit card is requested to be held, blah, blah, blah. It's all secured. This is an online rate guarantee. And that's basically it. So we can go back and see the hotel. I'll zoom out a bit for you. And that all sits on this page. So you can see from that, I'm not going to add another hotel, but you can see from that, that's how you start to build this. So you could have 2, 4, 5 different hotels, different categories. People can search depending on the features. They can also search by mid-range luxury, and that's where you selected mid-range and luxury earlier as a category. We selected corporate, family, mid-range for this Mercure hotel, but you could create other categories to help people search more effectively. And they can even search in alphabetical order. Now, what we want to do is provide a link, okay, like we've done on this other page, to the actual event website to see if people haven't registered yet, how they can do that. So at the moment, we don't have any links on this side of the screen, so we're going to create one. So we want people to be able to come back to this page. So we're going to copy the URL or the web address for the International Sports Karate Association's registration page. And then what we're going to do is go in and we're going to add what we call add a box. That's what this area is called. Okay, here and here, if we look here, if we go back to this page, these links that we've got here are boxes in our terminology. So let's add a box. And you don't need to fill out most of this. You actually only need to fill out the first 2 areas. The rest is used for something else, which we can go through separately. So you can write not registered for Battle of Canberra yet. Click here and put the URL in of the ISKA site and save. Continue and you go back, and now you can see we've got destination, we've got hotels, and we've got boxes. Okay, and if you refresh the page, remember I always said keep 2 screens open. Now you can see that you have not registered for Battle of Canberra yet. Click here, and when you click there, you go straight to the ISCA page for registration. All right, so that's our reciprocation with the event that can click us over there. But what about promoting specials? If we've got a hot special for the Mercure Canberra, we do the same thing. We take a note of this particular address of this Canberra page on the hotel's TV page, and we go back and we add a box here. So Mercure Hotel family room special. Okay, depending on what we want to promote, $220, book now. And we put the URL in and we save it. And we can continue. So now we've got two boxes and you can easily change the sort order. So if you want the registration stuff at the top, or you want that at the bottom and you want the Mercure at the top, you easily click the button and it changes the sort. So now let's go back to the Battle of Canberra page. And now we can see we've got two hot deals. Well, one hot deal and one link to the registration page at the top. Mercure family room special, book now. Okay, as well as that down the bottom, we've promoted it up the top. We can click that and we can actually go through to this page. Okay, and then they can find the family room and then they can book. And it's that simple. So we go back. Now, what we want to do is, and the final thing really we want to do is we want to add some information. So let's say we want to let people know about how to get there, a map of the area, maybe some information on the Institute of Sport and why it's so interesting. So we keep people on our website and coming back with some good information. So what we do here is now add a section. Okay, so let's click add section and let's put title AIS Canberra. So the Australian Institute of Sport Canberra. Now let's go to Google and let's write something. Let's do something on it. So let's put AIS Canberra. And just be careful what you copy. If you copy it directly off the AIS's website, it's probably better because then you know it's official. Wikipedia, if you give reference, just be careful what you copy. Visit Canberra should be an interesting one because that's the official government website. And they promote a tour of what you can do as well, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we can't use images where they might have already. No, actually, let's find the AIS website. Okay, so it might take a little bit of searching, before we can get what we need. AIS, or what you can do is actually, if you go back to Google and look on images, it'll have a load of images about what's there. And actually, let's make it even more relevant because the event, if you remember, is actually at the Combat Centre. So let's use the Combat Centre and let's get some images and information about that. There we go, perfect. Look at that. So let's copy. So let's save that image as AIS Combat Center, and let's put it into our right folder, ISKA, images, save the Combat Center, and let's go back to our page and let's bring an image here, new main image. That's all images, Combat Center open. Now let's, maybe we can Google a little bit of information about the Combat Center. I'm just going to grab this, just grab whatever it is so you can see how it comes out. And, you know, we have to go back, there's a little bit of write up. We have to go back in and adjust this for the event anyway. So there's a little bit of information and then we save that. Okay, continue. We then go back to this page. It actually, you can add more images and edit sections and delete. So you can actually add another image as well and say Combat Center. Let's actually find another image so you can actually see the difference between the two. So all this doesn't, you know, take too long. Save image as, okay, Combat Center number 2. Save that, go back into the section and Combat Center number 2. That's done. Save that. All right, so now that's finished. We go back to the Battle of Canberra. You see how all your blocks are built now. You've got destinations, hotels, sections, boxes, different ones under every single heading to really build out the information, the relevant, cool information that you've got in your area. So let's refresh this page again and let's see what we've done. Okay, so we've got the header, we've got the title, we know who the agent is. We've actually got the heading description, we've got some linked features down here, some urgency things to tempt people to book. We've got a hotel, we've got a map, we've got a location. We could have 4 or 5 hotels that we need to add in there, but that's one's just for demonstration purposes. And what we just added was up here, the articles and guides. So when we go into the articles and guides, we've got some interesting information that we've just added about the AIS Canberra. And we've actually got the first image that we added, which is our image. When we read more, we can actually go in and add all sorts of images and all sorts of information to that page that make it interesting for people to read, directions, maps, how do I get an airport transfer, directions from the airport, what other sites and things can I do in Canberra while I'm there, tours, attractions, all these sorts of things which you can earn money from. You can put tours and attractions and airport transfers in that you actually earn money from. And then you go back to the link there, and that's basically it. We're created, we've got rates, we've got availability, people can book. All we need to now do is pad the whole thing out. So, which looks now pretty similar to that, except this has got more hotels. And then what we do is link it with a nice big banner to the event website. So when people come onto this page, we link it. And what we're going to go through next week is the different ways we can market and promote that, not just linking it here, but how we get the organizers to help distribute that information through mailing lists, through Facebook, Twitter, and how we then start to analyze the click-throughs that come from that event. So hopefully you've got a lot of information out of that, okay, and you start to see it build. You can do this. You've got the login and password already to be able to create this. The type of event that you do doesn't matter. You can add anything into this. You know, when you go into your destination screen, you've got, you know, you only have 4 or 5 in there, these PBAs, if you like, that are there. But actually, you've got, let's see, PBA, PBA, PBA. We will keep adding these in to your destinations area. You have an unlimited number of these PBAs that you can create to make all this work. So you just keep doing this. You keep creating these for different events that you're working on. You create, if you've got like, you know, karate events by one organizer, but they have 10 different events, then you should make 10 different private booking areas that are so focused on that event, they become really, really relevant. The other really interesting thing about this that you'll want to take notice of by creating a separate private booking area is that if someone just goes and does a Google search and types in hotels Quan Grand Slam Wolverhampton into a Google search, look what happens. Okay, the event comes up normally number one. That's the main booking website. But look, number two, this is an organic search. We don't pay for this. This is organic. But because each one of our PBAs is so focused and it's linked to the actual event, Google sees it, anything to do with accommodation or hotels, as an authority in the space. So it will put you organically ahead of booking.com, Expedia, hotels.com, anyone else out there, because you are the exclusive agent linked to the event. This is how powerful this can be. So anyone searching hotels near this event, we come up. We come up position number 2, position number 3, position number 4, position number 5, position number 6, and then we're linked to this page anyway, so we're actually already on this, and that's it. So we're 6 out of the top 8 or 10 places on this particular Google search, and that's what will happen with all your events as long as you follow the system. All right, so that's the Battle of Canberra all set up. We need to do a little bit more work on that, as you can see, and then we need to link it. So we'll be doing that. Next week, we'll come back with a bit more information, and it'll be interesting on this to actually view bookings and different things off these events, so you can really see how it's all starting to come together. All right, now I'm going to come back to you. And what we're going to do is just go back to the presentation. So hopefully that's been really, really interesting and really helpful for you. Hopefully you can see me again as well. Okay, so we should still be on. So that was a live PBA creation. Now that took us perhaps an hour because of instruction and different things like that. If you've got your information ready and your hotels all set up, which you will, the more events that you do, the more you will have all this information all set up. It'll take you 5 minutes to add a hotel on. It'll take you 5 minutes to add some local information, because quite often you probably would have already had it and stored it. So to get a PBA together and to be able to do that quickly and efficiently is really easy. The benefit of that is that you can also search for events that are happening next week or the week after or the week after. You know, it's not like creating a website which takes 2 months to build. This can take hours to build, or an hour to build, and it can be up, functioning and running, ready to be booked and linked at short notice for an event. And that can be a lifesaver for an event. And that also brings your revenue opportunity much, much faster, because you're dealing on with events that are happening sooner. But the fact that you can move so quickly is a real asset compared to anything that's out there in the marketplace. So hopefully you found that really, really useful. We're going to go to some questions in a minute. So if you've got any questions, pop them into the chat function. I'm going to just give you a few tips now for building a great PBA. Good selection of hotels based on your research. It's absolutely key. The analytics that we'll do will tell you where you're making mistakes. So try not to make those mistakes It's just going to cost you in a few bookings, the more delays that you have. Try to really build your hotels correctly by understanding your event, and that goes back to lesson number 1, lesson number 2, and lesson number 3. Everything's starting to link and build together. Relevant hotel information is so important. People want to read things and they respond to things that are relevant. Irrelevant information doesn't help you with Google. It doesn't help you with the guest. It doesn't help you with the event organizer. Put a little bit more effort into personalizing the hotel descriptions in the page, and you will see the benefits of that. Add the rates and availability, really key. But that doesn't mean you can't come back and put a last minute deal on and add an extra room as a last minute room and do all these creative things to push, and then give that, as we'll find out next week, to the event organizer so they can then go and tell their audience about another deal that we've got or a new hotel that's on. Keep feeding them up-to-date, regular information, really important. Great hotel images. You're a guest, you go and stay in hotels. What do you like to see? If you see a rubbish room, you're probably not going to book that hotel. We can actually add video on, and we'll do another section or training or webinar on this later. We can add video. You can even create a video and add it, and video works really, really well. Hence why we're called hotels.tv, and we will be reintroducing a lot more video in the future. Promote your best rates by putting those quick links up the top, as I showed you before. The map, make sure the venue's on there and the hotels are marked. Just don't take shortcuts. Just do what I've shown you, and it'll be perfect, and people will appreciate the information. And be able to make informed booking decisions then and there with that information, and that's actually what you're trying to do. Articles and guides, add some interesting information. You want to draw people into the page. You want to get them talking and sharing that information that's on that page. It brings more people in. If you've got a really cool article about the event, people might start putting it on Facebook and Twitter, and it brings more people attending the event to read that article, and then they go, oh, hey, did you see that, we've got hotels available, we could just book our hotel now. And then they go and book their hotel now. So, the more creative you are with your articles and information, the more that actually can get you good search engine optimization, but can be something that is really useful to the 2,000 people attending this event. That's what you want. Create some viral marketing, which is things we'll cover in marketing in the future. Think, what will they need at the destination? And that will give you the answers on what you should put in the articles and guides. Strong image for the event, make it look great, make the main image stand out so it's nice and crisp and clear. Sometimes you can actually change the image. If you're any good at Photoshop, you can kind of just cut bits out of the image, so you're not just putting a crowded image into the main image at the top. You're putting something really crisp and clear that works really, really well, really effectively. Link back to the event website. That always looks good. It encourages the event organizer. Reciprocation is really important. The event organizer also wants to know that you're doing whatever you can to help promote their event, as well as them promoting your hotels. So make sure you let them know that we're doing everything we can to expand. Like they had one listing in the search engine, one listing. We had 6 listings in the top of the search engines. That broadens the ability for people to find their event as well. Okay, so that's another selling point that you can promote to them, that we get great search engine optimization that really enhances their event. Very important. So make sure all your areas are complete and look professional. And as you can see, as long as you're a bit organized, and the more you get used to it, the faster you're going to be at doing this. It's not difficult to do. If you're going to choose an image, you might as well choose one that's great over one that's just okay. And that might produce another 5 bookings that you weren't going to get before. Now you're ready to link the PBA to the event website and start to promote it. So great. That was the website, creating a PBA. I should say that if you want to create a public website as well, that you just want online all year round, you actually do this the same way. The same way we've just created the PBA. The difference is you actually, instead of selecting corporate extranet, you actually select the destination that it's under. And that turns it into something that's got a slightly bigger image at the top. And when you add boxes, you're actually adding featured hotels rather than the links down the side. That's something we can talk about on a one-to-one, but you basically do it the same way. So the system is built on a flexible basis that you could do this around a public website, or as a corporate extranet or a private booking area, you could do it around a wedding, a trade show, a convention, or exhibition, whatever it is that you're actually working on or want to do. So that's really it. So if there are, hopefully I've answered a lot of your questions. So if you've got any other questions, now is the time to put them down. I'm just take a moment or two. Okay, here's a question that's just coming in at the moment. The question is, how many links can we have on a page? And I think that refers to the boxes. You can actually have as many as you want. But like anything, in that top right-hand section, what we suggest is really focusing on the main things that you want to book. So, you know, if it's the most obvious best choice, even though it's down there below, they have to kind of search for it in each hotel. If you put it in that link box, you're going to draw people directly to it. So I would be more reserved with the way you have your links. I would actually change your links as your information changes as well. So if all of a sudden that hotel sells out and there's another really good deal, or there's another good deal on a different type of room, I would put that up there to promote that as well. I would always keep, the other question is regarding the top information on the left-hand side, which is kind of the urgency information saying book online now, 40% off. I would always keep something like that. You don't have to copy that, but I would always keep something like that as a header, so that as soon as people land on that page, quickly they know they can book and then they're going to get a discount. And also, it comes up at the top of the fold. You know, it comes up at the top when someone goes onto their screen on their phone, or they go on their laptop or their desktop. It's at the top, so instantly they can actually see it, and then they just look for the hotels. If you've got too much waffle, and what I mean by waffle is information that's not really relevant to the hotel. It could be, you know, nice information about the event and why the event's so special, and we're so proud to be nominated as the private booking experts and da 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 da. It's too much waffle. It's not really anything that the guest is going to be interested in. They've got all the information on the actual event website. They've come here through a booking link. They want to book a hotel and they want to get a discount. So make sure they quickly sums up as soon as they see it. 1, 2, 3, bang, they're done, they're booked, and they've gone. Okay, question in, this is from Osama. Hi, Osama. Osama's in Bahrain. If the event's period for 2 nights and the guest wants to stay more in the same hotel. Yeah, good question. This is why when you add your rates, I'd like you to add a bit more flexibility. If the event is the 28th of April, and the likelihood is people are going to stay the 27th for the 28th, and then once the event's over, they're going to go home. Put the 26th, the 27th, the 28th, the 29th and 30th, get rates from the hotel right across that period, just in case they want to stay longer. Never set, unless the hotel says that they will only take a minimum 2-night stay, never set your minimum stays as 2 or 4, because if someone's just looking for one night, it won't show up as a choice because it's a minimum 2 nights. Likewise, if the event goes for 3 or 4 nights, you might want a 4-night booking in a perfect scenario, but you will then block anyone who's looking for 1, 2, 3 nights. So I would always make sure you leave that flexible, but have enough dates across the calendar to be able to put in, to satisfy the people that want to stay for 2 or 3 or 4 nights. Have your email address on the page and your telephone number. So if they all of a sudden find that they wanted to book 14 nights and they can't do it on the page, they can at least contact you, because you'll be able to get them another best rate, because not only are they part of a group, but they're now booking 14 nights, they should get an even better rate from the hotel. And you can write that in the top section, as you see to the left of the to the right of the PBA. You can write that information very much in there to get your message across to these people with a contact. You could even make one of those, it's hard to see on that copy, but under the features or the boxes, you could even create a section with your contact information and anything else you want to write. Then you could link it under Contact Hotels TV or Contact Your Agent. You could even put that as a box link straight into the articles and guides by just copying the page web address that you created in the articles and guides, and then adding that and creating a link on the features box section. Hopefully that's fairly clear. So it's a really flexible system that you can promote things all different ways just by taking the page reference and then creating a link for it on that page. So hopefully that answers that question, and just know that you can create whatever rates you want, provided you've got the authority of the hotel across any particular period. So, as I've said all along, this is a very flexible platform that allows you to really bend this booking system around the circumstances that you're looking to build your business on to encourage bookings. I think that's probably the only way I can really explain it. Okay, so that really, I think, brings us to the end of this training presentation. Hopefully you've enjoyed it and you've got a lot out of it as well. A reminder for the next training session, it comes up next week, which is training week 3 of 8, marketing, linking the private booking area and promoting it to the audience. And that's going to be, I guess, really interesting, I think, to start to delve inside now how you generate bookings. This is how you're going to generate your revenue. So this is really, really exciting. I really hope that you can see now how everything comes together, from the events, the hotels, to setting up the PBA, to marketing it, to monitoring it, and then to just repeating that process no matter which event. And once you get that seamless rhythm, there's no limit to the number of events you can be working on simultaneously using this business. All right, as soon as we end this presentation, you'll be presented with a screen. That screen will allow you to register for week 4. Week 4 is the one we're going into. Sorry, I've got that wrong. The next training is week 4 of 8, which is the marketing side. We've just done week 3, so apologies for that. So week 4 will be linked at the end, and you'll be able to register for that on the screen. We will issue a video of this presentation that you can review, and you'll also get a copy of the PowerPoint presentations in your Dropbox over the next week as well, so you can actually review them slide by slide. So thank you for joining us. Keep on keeping on, keep on booking, keep on working hard and connecting to those events and those groups and those trade shows and those sports tournaments. Keep working in your niche, keep developing your niche, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.